The journey we're taking is the journey within you. Everybody has their own story and their own journey to share. Every journey conceals another journey within its lines, the path not taken and the forgotten angle. The journey within you, where you will listen to stories from others sharing their triumphs and struggles that led them to where they are today.
All right.
Hey, welcome to the podcast, The Journey Within You. I am so thrilled to have Jessica Ruckle join me today. And Jessica, I know that we don't know each other personally, we could say, but we do know each other through, Instagram and Facebook and good old social media. And also we do belong to a mutual company that we both love dearly, Plexus. And so I just have been watching your story unfold over the months that I have gotten to know you through social media. And I would just love for you to share your story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. So I guess I'll just start from the beginning a little bit. I grew up in Washington State. I was born here and then moved to California at the age of 5. And I was a Navy brat, so we kind of moved all over the place, but I really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the change. I loved being able to start over wherever I went, kind of make my own rules, who I was, who I wanted to present to others,
Oh, I love that.
Um,
I had that same opportunity being a PK. I mean, we moved. And so
yeah,
wherever I went, I was a new person.
yeah, exactly. You really get to create who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of was hard on my family because my dad was an addict, and I was in NA meetings 3 times a week. And when my parents finally divorced, it was like the biggest blessing ever, because he was really just very toxic to our family, and had chose addiction over us. And so that was really something that I struggled with as a teenager, and then even as a young adult, was battling, like, is me going out on a Friday night leading to addiction, or is me experimenting with drugs and addiction, or is that just normal? And in the state of Washington, where I do currently live, addiction is rampant. It's kind of like, I kind of thought everybody did drugs. I kind of thought everyone was an alcoholic. I thought it was normal. And when I graduated from high school, I was accepted into the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Wow.
And everyone thought my mom was absolutely crazy for sending her 18-year-old to Las Vegas,
To Vegas,
right?
baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I was so excited, but it was kind of a cryptic excited because I hadn't been accepted to the universities I wanted to. That was the only place that wanted me. And so I felt like I had to go there to really show people I was going to a 4-year university. And that's when my depression really started. My aunt, my favorite aunt, she passed away of an overdose.
Oh, no.
And I really started just downward spiraling, and drinking, dabbling into different types of drugs. And I failed out of all my classes, and I came home. And that was the time in my life where I was the most suicidal. I was just really struggling with my mental health. Like, if you went into my dorm room, it was just bare walls and nothing that made it homey. It was very dark, very dark. Yeah. And so that was like very hard for me to navigate her death. And one of the first real deaths that I had encountered, along with multiple friends dying in high school.
Yeah.
So death was kind of something that just kept showing up for me. And so as I went into college and out of college, I came back home, and I went to multiple different colleges, failed out of each one. I could not figure out how to say no to things. I wanted to be the yes person. I wanted to just be so fun and always be the girl that was just up for anything, and that just really was not good for me. I was putting everyone else ahead of myself. I wasn't taking care of my body. I had gained 70 pounds just from after high school.
Yeah.
And I was a cheerleader. I was athletic. I ran cross country. I did track and field. I lettered in every sport. I was just like really
Very
athletic. And
active.
then after high school, it's like you don't really have anything to do. They don't have things for young adults
Mm-mm.
that I knew of, besides going to college. And, it's really hard to make new friends when you're not
Mm-hmm.
in those types of
Mm-hmm.
things. So once I started to like go through college and all that, I had met this guy online, and turns out he was extremely abusive, and I was
Mm,
pregnant.
mm.
I got pregnant after the first month of us meeting, and I I knew it was a sign from God that I needed this baby. And I prayed throughout my 9 months of pregnancy that God would really reveal himself, because I was being physically and emotionally abused.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like reliving my childhood all over again, but through myself. I was
Right.
repeating history.
Right.
And I was getting abused, and it was a month after I had my baby that that man looked at me and he said, "Well, the only reason I'm with you is for our daughter." And I don't know why that was so powerful to me, but I hit the brakes on our car and I said, "Get out, we're done."
Wow.
Um, I
It's something how
I'm
like
not
that can
gonna,
just spark you to do
yeah,
something. I can relate.
yeah, yeah, and it did, and from that moment on, I was like, absolutely not will I ever be treated like this again. And so I had met my husband now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
before I got pregnant. I had met him, and we had dated for a couple months, and it just didn't work out. And then I had gotten into that toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after I had the baby, my husband now, Sean, he reached out and he had apologized. He missed me and he wanted to take on a new life with me and my daughter.
Oh,
And I was just like, what? My baby was 3 months old. I was completely like just out of a relationship that was very
yeah.
toxic. So I was
Yeah.
very, very
You weren't all
protective. I was
together.
Right, exactly. And I was like, oh gosh, like this is a lot. But you know what? I trusted it. The Lord was guiding me and I went with it. We've been together for over 13 years now.
Oh, that's a
Um,
blessing.
yeah, he's the love of my life. And we have two daughters now.
Mm-hmm.
But just backwards, after we got back together, we moved to Hawaii for his work.
Wow.
He's an iron worker. And so
Uh-huh.
he had an opportunity to go to Hawaii. And I was like, let's go, babe. Like, this is
Yeah.
the opportunity of a lifetime. It was right in Waikiki. We were so excited. And he told me, well, I'm going to go down a month before you to find a place.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I struggle with abandonment and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
really nervous. I was scared. I was a little jealous. I had
Mm-hmm.
never been to Hawaii. I didn't even know what it was like. And we weren't even engaged yet at this time. But he went down for a month, and that entire month I drank and drank and
Oh,
drank. And
man.
it was every single day. I was up to a half gallon of vodka a day before
Mm,
I left.
mm.
And I gained so much weight in that 30 days that he didn't even recognize me when I got off my flight.
Wow. Well, during that
And
time, I'm going to interrupt you here a little bit. I was just thinking,
yeah,
like, during that
yeah.
time, how the baby was what, 3 months or four
The
months?
baby was about a year at this
Okay, a
time when we
year at
went
that
to
time.
Hawaii.
And how
Yep.
did, were you, I know some people are they can function and you don't even know they're a drinker or
Right.
on a medicines or addiction because I've
Hmm.
experienced this with my son-in-law. You wouldn't know it. He functions
Yeah.
fine. So was that something
Yeah.
you felt like you were doing and just going through the motions, or did people know something was going on?
I feel like for the most part, it was, I would wait until a certain time. I'm very smart. Most
Mm-hmm.
alcoholics are.
Mm-hmm.
They're like sneaky and they're gonna
Yeah.
figure out a way for people not to realize. I never drank and drive. I was very against
Okay.
that. But
That's good.
I was stay-at-home mom.
So
So,
you had all the
I didn't have
opportunities.
to wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And my fiance, or he was my boyfriend at the time, he was paying for everything. So I didn't really have responsibilities.
Okay. Gotcha.
And yeah, so it was just kind of a poor me, let me just drink myself to depression,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not know how to
He's
cope
never
with this.
coming back. He's left me.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so once I did finally move there, then it just got worse.
Oh,
When you live in paradise,
and
people
I've
think
been
you're like,
there, and it's
yes,
gorgeous.
yes, you think you're in paradise,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're there all the time, you're not sitting on the beach drinking
No.
at next little thing once a week.
Mhm.
You're doing
Mhm.
it every day.
Mhm.
And so we were I made a promise, I'm going to go to the beach once a day with my daughter. Well, then that turned into me bringing my cranberry and vodka with me in my juice
Mm.
bottle,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
like having that. And it was just so dangerous, so reckless, and
Mhm.
so sad to think back on my daughter being completely like neglected.
Mhm.
And that's something that really hurts me.
Well, that just
I
shows
have
how deep addiction goes that the person that's
right,
in that doesn't know it until after
right,
when you look back.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so while we were there, I actually crashed my husband's car. I call him my husband because he's my husband now, but he wasn't at the
Yeah.
time. But I
Right.
did
Right.
crash his car, and that got him fired. It was his company car.
No.
And yeah, so we had to move immediately. We had to come home.
Wow.
And it's just like everything I touch would turn to poop,
Sour. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was like I couldn't do anything right. And I didn't know why I was constantly attack after attack after attack. It
Mhm.
was always like wanting to blame other people and not take
Mhm.
ownership for myself and
Yeah.
try and look everywhere else but within me for the solution.
Mhm.
And so once we moved back, I got into massage school. I needed to make some money. I wanted to contribute, and I needed to like go to school and be done quickly. And that's a 6-month program.
Mhm.
So I got in massage school. I hated it.
Oh,
It
it
was
wasn't.
so boring for me because I'm a talker, if you can't tell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I'm like massaging, I have to be quiet and
Yes, though. No.
calm and
Uh-uh.
peaceful. Yeah. So I
No.
love getting massages, not giving. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
realized real quickly that this was going to be my job. It was going to be how I made money, but it wasn't going to be what I enjoyed. And so I did it for a while. I made pretty good money. And then my dad, my biological dad, he called me one day and he was like, "Hey, this guy he's on drugs. He's an addict.
Mm.
He really doesn't have any like his word doesn't really mean anything to
Right.
me."
Right.
And he says, "Hey, I got this plexus stuff."
Oh, no
Um,
way.
Nope, I'm serious.
Oh my
And he lives
gosh.
in California. I live in Washington. He goes, "I have this plexus stuff." And I said, "Okay, that's cool. Like you do it for you." He's like, "No, like it's actually helping me get sober." I was like,
No way.
"Oh, really?" I was like, "That's great for you." And he's like, "You should try it." And I said, "I don't have the money to do that. I was so broke." And he's like, "All right, well, just think about it." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I kept seeing him post about it. I was like, this is weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
This
this
is
was
my
back in
dad.
yeah, my dad, I don't really talk to him. He's, not the best at
Right.
maintaining a relationship with
Right.
me. And this is 2016, mind you, when
Mhm.
the advertisements were very spammy and very
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
has he got
Um,
himself into?
yes, exactly. I was so skeptical. But he actually ended up calling me again, and he was like, "Hey, like I'm trying to reach a rank of silver, and it's gonna help me get my products paid for. And I was wondering if I got you a welcome pack, if you would try it." And I said, "Sure, why not?"
I'm just
And he
sitting here
bought me my
thinking about
welcome
if
pack.
my dad called me. That would just be so
I
weird hearing it from my
know.
dad. Oh.
Right, I know. It's so funny. And so I did it. I loved it. I went through a bag of Slim in 2 weeks because I didn't realize that
Yeah.
he
Oh, oops.
yeah, I was so excited. And it actually made me feel amazing. I was like, all right, I can do this. How much is it? And I was like, oh shoot,
Mm.
it's more than I realized.
Mhm.
But I was like, well, I can try and share. And I tried to share. I didn't really get much interest, so I didn't really do that. And I just kind of sat on it. But you know
Yeah.
what? I made money. I made enough money to cover for those products every month because I really liked them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and around 6 months in, I wasn't drinking anymore. I lost
No.
50 pounds.
Wow.
I was like, what is going on? I was like super optimistic and like really energetic, and I was happy, and I wasn't blaming anyone else for anything, and I was like starting to heal, and I was like, this is so weird. And I didn't know if it was the products per se, but I was still like in love with the energy I was getting,
Right.
right?
Right. It gave you a new light of something different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And and then I got engaged at this point. After I lost all the weight, my husband ended up getting a DUI.
Oops.
And this is something that I haven't really shared a lot about,
Yeah.
but it was a very pivotal moment in our relationship because I hadn't been drinking and he had. And I got a phone call that I had to go bail him out.
Mm.
And that was heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
And after I bailed him out, I think he realized I'm going to be with this woman forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because we
Yeah.
were engaged very shortly after. We did a long engagement of 18 months. And then I got pregnant on our wedding night with our daughter, our
Oh my
Violet.
goodness.
Um, yeah, and through my pregnancy, I gained a lot of weight. Oh my goodness, it was bad. I could not drink my pink drink because my baby didn't want raspberries, and so it
No
was just a
way. Oh my
trial.
gosh.
Yes, I took everything else, E's, probiotics,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
things, but the pink drink, I was like, no, I need it.
That's my
Um,
favorite.
I know, and we didn't have any other flavors at the time.
Right. Right.
So, but yeah, after I had her, I ended up losing another 75 pounds. And after that, I was like, let's go. If I can do it once and then I can do it twice, like
Mm-hmm.
this is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tell everyone I know, like, let me help people lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 50 people on my team and I earned a cruise
Cool.
to the Bahamas.
That's so
Um,
fun.
it was so fun, and everyone was just like, "Whoa, who is this girl?" Right? Like she
Right.
actually earned a cruise with a company like this. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like the first moment that people started realizing this was legit.
Legit
Um,
business. Yep.
yeah, and then I kept earning trips and trips and trips, and then $2,000 shopping sprees, and then Apple AirPods and
Mm-hmm.
Apple Watches and
Mm-hmm.
all the things, and
Mm-hmm.
people were just like, "What?" So I do have a lot of people on my team that joined for the business now.
That's
They join
awesome.
because they like the shiny things. They
Mm-hmm.
don't buy that stuff for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
especially, my stay-at-home mom friends. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have that extra income like that. And in the pandemic, I really looked at my sister, who I do this with, Tara Ruckel. She's a senior Ruby. We looked at each
Oh,
other, and we were like, "What do we do? Like, what are we gonna do?"
I know. Everybody got a
And
little scared.
yeah, we got a little scared, and
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, we need to think of something. Like, I'll
Mm-hmm.
ask other people, and you think of something." We just kind
Mm-hmm.
of put our brains together, and we're like, "Let's just be the light. Like, let's be the light
Mm-hmm.
in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be the optimistic people when everyone else is fearful."
Right.
Um, and we hit 350 people joining the team by June that year.
Wow.
Um, we added 643 people in 2020. And most of those people earned $600 stimulus checks every single month.
Mm-hmm.
And Plexus was so generous to give us those stimulus checks
Oh,
during
was
such a
that not
crazy time.
amazing?
That
I think
was,
2020 was my
yeah,
best year too. It's
yeah,
just like I don't know if it was we could zone in and focus and
oh
take
yeah,
people's minds off of what was going on, but that
yeah,
seemed to be my best year too.
yeah, yeah. And it will come back. I really do believe that
Mm-hmm.
it's just an insane momentum year. And I've maintained over half of those people, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I have about 30 people that share this business with me, which when I went to Florida this last when was that? September, October? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I
Mm-hmm.
went there for Jewels of Excellence, and I'm
Right.
just listening to all these other jewels talk about their retreats with 150 people, and my retreats have eight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
I
I'm
mean,
just like, oh my gosh,
I
it's
mean,
vision casting.
that's okay because like Super
Yeah.
Saturday, I had one. But I love
Yeah.
that girl to pieces and I know what she's
Yes.
doing and she believes in it. And if that one believes
Yes.
in it, I'm good. you know,
Yes.
that's what we need.
One. Yep. And we see what it will be.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
gives me hope, is to just keep trekking, and more people are going to realize, and they're going to see that this is so authentic and it's so much fun. And to just get healthy with other people is just such a blessing.
And we have such an amazing
Um,
company. I mean, they're
right.
just integrity. I mean, I just love them.
Yes. Yes. And in 2020, best business year ever, but in 2021, I took my girls on a trip to Snohomish. It's just a little snowy town in Washington.
Oh.
Um, and the day I got back, it was spring break for my kids, so I
Mhm.
was gonna sleep in the next day.
Uh-uh.
And I slept in and I woke up to like 17 missed calls.
Mm.
And it's like the biggest fear ever is to think that you missed
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
And my I saw 911, and it was my sister, and I called her, and I called my mom, and my dad had a massive heart attack.
Oh, goodness. Mm.
And uh it was like, what do I do? Like, you get that phone call and you're like, I don't know what to
Yeah.
do. Like, I
Yeah.
just woke up. I'm not even dressed. Like, I'm frantic. My
Mhm.
kids were home because it was break. Like,
Mhm.
it was just everything was so, I just got back from a trip, and
The
he ended
highs
up
and
surviving.
lows so fast.
Yeah, yeah. He survived 10 more days until he went to be with Jesus.
Oh.
But those were days from the Lord, and I was able to pray with him, and I was able to meditate with him on the word, and I was able to teach him what affirmations were
Mhm.
and how to heal ourselves with Jesus, and all the amazing things that I really needed that time with him.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was,
That
it
was
was
healing
definitely a
for you
blessing.
also. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because at that time, not even funny, but at that time, I really wasn't seeking the Lord. I
Right.
had a lot of resentment towards the Lord. Um, but after my dad passed, I fell in love with Jesus again.
Mm.
And I was led to the highest relationship I've ever had with him
Oh.
because of that. And I'm just so grateful that I have that relationship with God now,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'm able to truly trust in the Lord and His plan. And I'm just so excited for the future and like eternal life, and
Mhm.
making the best of this life with people and teaching them about Jesus along the way, while doing
Yes.
Plexus.
Yes. Yes.
It really goes hand in hand.
Oh, doesn't it? I
So
love that. Yes.
yeah, and I'm always like, God made plants, come
Yep.
on.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
He grew them just for
So
us.
yes,
Mm.
exactly. We're supposed to be, consuming these things. And so, yeah, I'm just blessed. And every jewel or anybody you see in this business that has major financial gain will give glory to the Lord. And that's what
Mhm.
I love,
Mhm.
is I
Mhm.
see that everywhere. And I
Yeah.
just love that so much.
I do too. I
Yeah.
see that when they speak, and that's the first thing they
Hmm.
know who it came from and why they are where they are and their purpose in it, and that's it's
Hmm.
beautiful. So something I was thinking
Absolutely.
about with your husband, you said that he was drinking too, and he had the DUI. Did that change his thoughts, and did he stop drinking, or is he still like maybe a social drinker? How did that go with him?
That's a great question. After my dad passed, I went through a big relapse of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I Before I found God again, I was like a good 2 months there where I was like, oh, let me go party again, and let
Mm-hmm.
me become irresponsible, and
Mm-hmm.
my family's in town and everyone's drinking Trulies all day, because
Yeah.
everyone's grieving. And
Yeah.
so we went through that. But as of today, I have 444 days alcohol free, and my husband
Woohoo!
is at around, I want to say 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
So he is following in my footsteps. I always say you gotta lead by doing
You
and
do.
showing.
Yeah.
And I've never judged him or expected him to do what I do. But he does. He tends to follow my lead when it comes to that kind of stuff.
We kind of get bossy.
Yeah, I have to be patient, but
Mhm.
bossy, yes.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
So he's also sober as well. So that's awesome. What a
Yes.
testimony to your girls. I mean,
I know. I
such a
know.
testimony to your girls, and they will remember that. Hard days
Yeah.
turned into the days now that they're going to have such precious memories of your parents being sober. Um,
Yeah, exactly. We really do talk about it a lot too, like the benefits of not
right.
drinking alcohol,
Right.
and drugs put holes in your brain. We're
Mhm.
very
Yeah. I
we're
mean,
very transparent because of where we live, and it's literally everywhere.
it
So,
is. It's sad. It is
yeah.
everywhere, and it affects a lot of families, and um
Mhm.
it's a hard thing to go through. But
Yeah.
so now your next steps. What's some of your passions that you're working towards for your future?
Mm. I am at we actually at my church, they just put out like, we're looking for people for the worship team, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've been waiting."
Oh, how
I
exciting!
love to sing. Yeah, so I'm an audition for that. That's just something, personal that I'm doing. I'm really excited about.
Yes, I love to
Um,
sing. I was always on the worship
yeah.
teams.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually worshiping before our call today because it really
It's a
connects me with
piece.
him. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, my purpose.
Yeah.
And then my team, we're all going to Nashville, so that's exciting.
Yay, I can't
Uh,
wait. You'll have to
yeah,
hug your
we've never
neck.
been.
We'll have to seek each other
Yeah,
out.
yes, get
Yeah,
our selfie.
it's gonna be a good
Um,
one.
yeah, we've never been there, so a lot of us we're excited about that,
Hmm.
and we have goals to go Sapphire this year.
Woo, that's
Um,
awesome.
So that's exciting. I have two girls that are really pushing for Emerald. So just helping others achieve success for themselves
Hmm.
first is, the secret to success
Definitely,
because
definitely.
we're all here doing the same thing and it's not a competition. So
No, no, and I love that about our job and our plexus because,
yeah,
right here in my own community, there's bunches of us, but we can call each other up and we help each other out, we encourage each other, and it's fun. I mean, that's what I talked about the other
yeah,
day. I have fun doing what I do. I don't dread getting up in the mornings. I love what I get to do, and we do have
yeah.
our own business. We travel all over the country, so I get to meet lots of people and be around people. We'll be out in California. I know that's not near you, but on that coast, we'll be out there. I've been to Washington State, love it. Rode
Yeah.
the ferry over to Victoria, I think it is that you can ride it.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
did that.
Yes.
So it's a really beautiful area. I've got another friend out there
Mhm.
that lives. She's in Plexus. She's out in Washington State and feels alone a lot of times. I'll have to connect her, um, just so she
Oh,
has
please
somebody out there.
do.
Yeah, because
Yes, please do.
she's out there, and all of us are over here, the team that we're
Right.
all in. So I hate it sometimes for her. So I'll do that. That would be a good connection for her. But
Yeah, my upline is in Tennessee, so she
oh
always feels
wow,
left out.
yeah, I bet so. Y'all are having
Yeah.
fun, and I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're leaving tomorrow. I don't know if you know Brooke Hemingway,
Oh yeah.
for a line this week. And oh my gosh, I'm so pumped and excited. And we get up in the morning. I'm picking up another girl and we're driving. Then I'm rooming with a girl from Tennessee. And
Wow.
it's going to be amazing. I told
Yes.
my husband, this is my third or fourth. And I tell him, I said, that's all I want for the beginning of the year. That's my gift. You can give me that. And that sets me off for the year, because you
Yes,
get pumped up,
absolutely.
encouraged, and it's
Yes.
just wonderful. But
Oh, I love that.
I just want to thank you for sharing your story because there are a lot of mamas out there, families that struggle. They think their
Yeah.
drinking in the afternoon is no big deal. They think the
Yeah.
weekends with other friends drinking, and like you said, standing around, and before you know it, you've had four, you've had five, you've had six, and they don't realize
Hmm.
it. And when you come to that realization, breaks on, and you're like, wow, where have I been? What have I been doing? And so
Right.
I just pray that this will impact someone that's struggling right now in that situation and see that it is possible to change. It's okay
Hmm.
to not drink, that it doesn't have to be a part of your life to be accepted. I think that's what
Yes.
they're afraid of. You go somewhere, you got a party, and like we have a blast. We don't have alcohol, we have a blast,
It's so funny too how many people don't drink now. Not because of me, but because they've realized like, oh, well, we have fun with Jessica even when
Mm-hmm.
we're not drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really become a movement.
Awesome.
Costco's even selling non-alcoholic beer now.
No
Costco.
way. That's
Oh yeah.
awesome.
So I feel like in Washington State it's becoming a thing of the no drinking and I'm here for it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Yeah.
I just appreciate you taking the time. We
Yes.
will
Thank you
be
so much.
posting this soon, and thank you.
Thank you.